And welcome into the Friday edition of Robby and Rexrode here on 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley alongside Ian Safar. Joe Rexrode will be along shortly. We are presented by Green Ventures Landscaping for homes and businesses that want to stand out, not blend in. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Hope everybody's off to a fantastic start here on this Friday morning. Ian, good morning.
How are you? Good morning. Happy Friday, huh? What a week. Feels like it's been a long week.
It does feel like it's been a long week.
But yeah, it is Friday. The weather's been hot. Officially feels like summer out there. We mentioned yesterday the Bonnaroo is rolling, so careful on 24 down towards that way. But yeah, doing good. Kept up with most of the Cup final game last night and turned on a little bit of the soccer. Was it South Korea and
your guess is as good as mine.
Why
I know that Mexico won yesterday. I saw some of that game.
Czechia. South Korea versus Czechia last night. South Korea got the 2-1 win.
Didn't go well for South Africa against
I
Mexico.
saw a bunch of red cards in that game too. I saw 2 for South Africa, 1 for Mexico. So getting off to a spicy start there. But yeah, doing good. Thanks. Had a I was gonna wait to tell Joe, but ordered some dinner last night from a place that if you listen to the Paul Kuharski podcast, you'll know who I'm referring to.
Indeed.
They did not have, they were out of stock on the mac and cheese, apparently. So couldn't order that for the kids, and that's always an issue. However, they did have an option that I went with, and I will say it was quite delicious. Banana pudding.
Oh, yes. Was this your first experience?
No, not my first experience with banana pudding. But you know what? I was like, okay, they don't have any mac and cheese. Let's switch it up.
Yeah.
We'll go with the banana pudding.
You know what I call that?
Big old case of banana pudding.
I call that very good parenting. That's what I call that. That's an impressive stroke for you in the fatherhood category. Good stuff. So far.
So after they ate some of their food, she did pretty good. Came back for seconds, got a little bit of extra meat, a little potato salad. And then I was like, you know what? I got a little something for you. Scoop some of that in there. She said it was good. And I agree. It was pretty delicious. One of the better banana puddings I've ever had, if I'm saying so myself.
Well, that makes me very happy to hear. It's good stuff on that front. I mean, banana pudding is an elite dessert. And Rexrode's nothing but a hater on that front. You brought up the Cup final. Heck of a game last night for the Cup final. Carolina gets the win. They take down Vegas 4-2 last night, and they are 1 win away from the Stanley Cup. I thought it was a game last night where Carolina was basically in control the whole time. I thought Vegas got off to a good start in the game. Vegas probably got off to their best start of the series. They took the 1-0 lead, and then Jordan Staal tied it at 1. And I thought from that point on, Carolina was really in control of the game. And Vegas took some penalties. I mean, Jeremy Lauzon, former Pred, just took an awful penalty. They killed that one off. And then Braden McNabb took a penalty that was maybe even worse. And they did not kill that off. Andrei Svechnikov finds the back of the net. Sebastian Aho scored a few minutes later. And when it was 3-1, I mean, really all throughout this series so far, you've looked at a 2-goal lead and you've seen it evaporate all the time. And it just never felt like that was going to happen in this one. It felt like Carolina was in control the whole time. So you've got a Carolina team that now is 1 win away from the Stanley Cup. Vegas sustains an injury last night that it's not like it's Mitch Marner or Jack Eichel or anything, but it's a significant injury when you talk about William Karlsson. And you could see on the bench, I mean, they were messing with his arm and his wrist, and eventually he had to skate off.
I didn't see the hit.
I didn't see the hit either, but
I guess it got him pretty good.
You could see the trainer kind of mouthing something to Tortorella after all that. And Tortorella's reaction was basically, oh, great.
Biscuits.
Yeah, like this is not good. So my guess is, and I heard Elliot Friedman and Kyle Bukauskas talking about this on the 32 Thoughts podcast on the way in this morning. Guess is he probably broke something, either his arm or his wrist. And if that's the case, I mean, he's done for the rest of this series, obviously. So that's a big loss for Vegas on that front. Brandon Bussey coming in goal for Carolina, and he's picked up a couple of wins. And, you know, it hasn't been perfect. It's not like I didn't think he was great in game 4, but he made some big saves at big times. And then last night, I thought he was really good. Like you're talking about a goalie coming in the middle of the series after having not played in the playoffs, and all of a sudden Carolina on the doorstep of a championship, heading back to Vegas for Game 6.
Yeah, they look pretty good. They have been rolling pretty much this entire postseason, and I was kind of wanting to see when a hot team matches up against another hot team, how that kind of played itself out. Vegas starting to look a little tired to me. Carolina has not played very many games. They pretty much swept most of their series leading up to it, right?
Yeah, I mean, they swept the first two,
so they haven't
and
played.
They lost one in the third round.
So they haven't played that many games, all things considered, and they look like the fresher team. Carter Hart has not been great.
No, he's given up 4 or more in every game of the series so far.
And I don't know if I'm buying the whole Frederik Andersen's completely healthy situation. A little bit strange that you would make the goalie swap right there.
Yeah,
he's had some concussion issues before. He got hit a couple of times, and I guess that was game 2.
He got smoked in the crease,
and I worried about that. But Brendan Moore's like, everybody's available, but he's not being dressed. Maybe they're playing some funny games. Not that it really should matters too much at this point.
Yeah, the thing with the Andersen
to make the move is interesting if he is healthy.
The thing with the Andersen thing to me, and I've heard Friedman bring this up, which tells me that he might know something and is not just really comfortable reporting it yet. But he's talked about it a couple times on the 32 Thoughts podcast this week. Like, Claude Lemieux died. Yeah. They were very close. Like, that was Andersen's agent.
Yeah.
And apparently they were really, really close. And I mean, that's obviously something that's horrific to go through when one of your good friends passes away like that. So I think there's maybe some of that going on too.
That makes
kind
sense.
Of behind the scenes.
Sure.
Because not only is he not playing, like he's not dressing. Like they're going and they're dressing Kochetkov
as the
backup, and then they've gone out and they've brought in a 4th goalie now, like to add to the mix here. So like it tells me that I don't know how much he's around. Like that's an interesting part of this as well. So, but that also tells me, Ian, that Busty's going to be the guy from here on out. I mean, these next 2, regardless of how it goes, like he could go give up 7 in Game 6, and he's probably going to be the guy in Game 7.
Feels that way at this point.
So that part of it is interesting. I mean, I mentioned it yesterday in the best and worst things.
Yeah, that carried over again last night for you.
The Jordan Staal thing is really cool because, like I said, I mean, he hasn't been in the Cup. He's been in the league forever. He hasn't been in the Cup final since 2009 when he was a part of the team in Pittsburgh that won it. You're talking about a guy that in the regular season has played more than 1,400 games in the NHL. He's 37 years old. He's been around for a long time. And again, he's not some offensive juggernaut out there. Like he scored 20 goals in the regular season, which at 37 is very good. He had 36 points. But he's known more basically for his ability to, shut people down and kill penalties. And just the fact that he scored a goal in every game so far of the Stanley Cup final. I mean, if Carolina finishes this off, I think he's going to win the Conn Smythe. Like, there are probably a couple other guys you could look at. And I know there's been the idea floating out there that Marner could win it even if Vegas loses, which we did see McDavid do a couple of years ago but I mean, McDavid had just an absolute freak show of a playoff run. Marner's been really good. He hadn't been that good. I think Jordan Staal, if they win this thing, he's going to win the Conn Smythe, which is just amazing.
It is amazing. He probably deserves it, all things considered, to be able to pull something off like this. It hadn't been done since the 70s. I mean, given his age, it's impressive. I mean, Carolina's impressed me. I was worried that they might kind of slip up here because they had never been to the Cup final, kind of waiting for that shoe to drop. Like, oh, they keep making it this far, and then something happens and they kind of don't live up to the expectations. I was almost kind of expecting that to happen in the Cup final too, and it has not. And they've responded. Both teams have responded, and I think they're going to do it.
Well, and I think yesterday, 2 huge developments for Carolina. Aho and Svechnikov find the back of the net. And those guys have been struggling. Like, I think they had 1 goal combined in the final heading into last night. And that was Svechnikov. And Aho had 1 goal in his previous 13 games. And that's just, it's hard to imagine you getting within 1 win of the Stanley Cup when one of your best players is just almost invisible offensively. But that's what he's been. And they've had other guys, namely Jordan Stahl, pick up the slack there. But Aho finding the back of the net last night, Svechnikov scoring last night. Like, to me,
Special
that's
teams
a
is
very
rolling.
good development. And their power play looks good.
Yeah.
Like, that's
killing penalties very well.
yeah. Like they look like they're starting to take control here. Now, look, they're about to be walking into an absolute firestorm because Game 6, whatever Vegas's best shot is, you're going to get it, probably especially early in that game, and you're going to have to find a way to weather that. You know, if you force me to guess right now, as we sit here at 6:11 in the morning, my guess, Ian, would be that Vegas wins Game 6 and it's going back to Carolina for Game 7.
All right. I'm
that's
not
my
sure.
Guess.
Yeah.
But
I'm not sure what I'll do in weekend winners in this coming up here.
yeah, and I could feel differently about that at 8:30. I don't know. That's just
yep.
That's
Teaser.
my guess of what's going to happen here as we sit here early in the morning. So it's been a fantastic Stanley Cup final so far. A fantastic Stanley Cup final. Nothing tonight on the NBA Finals front. They'll be back at it tomorrow. We got some World Cup action coming up tonight. But
USA, baby.
You know, this time, 48 hours from now, when we're talking about Sunday morning, Ian Safar could be an NBA champion at that point. How's that feel?
It's a little nerve-wracking.
Just not willing to
no,
go there
not
yet?
willing to go there. It's a little nerve-wracking, but it'll be exciting. I'll be excited to watch on Saturday. It'll be one. I will say I felt the other night watching the game, I felt a little bit like my grandfather when he was watching games and when he was, in his older age in the 80s, where he was so nervous he couldn't even watch.
Yeah.
And that's what I was found myself doing on that game. Like, as soon as Karl Anthony Towns got those 2 quick fouls, I turned it off. I was like, I cannot watch
I can't
this.
do it.
I cannot watch this. So I turned it off, would turn it back on, watch for a few, turn it back off, check the score, turn it back off. So hopefully I won't be doing that in this game, considering. But
Just enjoy it.
Just try and take it in. If they lose, the series is not over.
No, you
still got the
time.
extra game. So I think I'm going to try and sit down and not be my 85-year-old grandfather walking in and out of the TV room, not being able to watch because his nerves can't handle it. That's the way I felt. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm turning into my grandfather.
That's awesome. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely heard of people doing that. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Off and running on the program here today. We will get into the Titans coming up next. And we're going to start this show off with a mini Rob rant coming up next. There's something about the Tennessee Titans that, frankly, I'm just so tired of hearing. And we will get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game, taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. We welcome in the visually appealing part of our show, Joe Rexrode, to the program. The YouTube chat can rest easy. Rexrode, good morning. How are you?
Yeah, sorry I'm late, but yeah, I mean, speaking of visually appealing, I mean, check out what's behind me, This is, if you, for people who can't check it out, it's a beautiful picture of Aikman, Irvin, and Emmett with a Cowboys pennant, but there's a lot of things like that in this household. You may have noticed this week that, every so often a family member's like, hey, man, cool for you to stop by. Can you go to someone else's house now? It's like my mom can, then they'd go see your brother, they'd go see your sister. Everybody, I'm basically being, handed around because people can only tolerate me so long. So
good to know, though. I mean, you're just you're making the rounds up there. The Emmitt Smith photo behind you. If they only knew that you thought Emmitt Smith was like the 75th greatest running back of all time in the history of the league, they may not even let you stay there longer.
Oh, my brother-in-law have had that conversation. No, don't worry. Everybody knows where I stand. Emmett was a very good player. He's one of the probably best running backs in the NFC East. I mean, he's one of the top 5 running backs in Cowboys history.
Yep.
Very good player. Yep.
Absolutely.
Solid.
Good stuff
Solid.
there.
It's good to play behind the best offensive line of all time.
Comes in slightly behind, I think, Tony Pollard in the rankings of all-time Cowboys running backs.
It's close. Yeah, it's neck and I'd give him the edge on Pollard.
That's good.
I'd give him the edge. Yeah.
Good stuff.
I'd give him the dub there. There you go.
All right, so I want to play this clip from Robert Saleh yesterday. And, Joe, we're going to get into something in the aftermath of it that is really not even exclusive to Saleh, but it's something that, as somebody who follows this team, I'm so tired of hearing about, or maybe more specifically, not hearing about. Here's what Robert Saleh had to say yesterday on the Cam Ward front when asked about, hey, what do you think when you're watching Cam Ward, what are some things you think maybe he could be elite at?
If Cam becomes what you guys think he can become, what do you think the 1 or 2 traits he can hang his hat on as? These are the things that he does at elite level are.
God, man, I don't know if I want to answer that one right now because I'm still learning him too. But I could tell you just visually, just being out here with him, like he's got an unbelievable mindset. He is fearless. He really can move on to the next play, no matter what happens the play before. His arm talent is ridiculous. So as he continues to develop, and his communication with Dayball too, like he's been awesome in that regard. But he's a playmaker. Like in all our move the ball periods, when we go unscripted, I think that's where he shines the most. And I think he shines in those moments because he's just playing football, so it's exciting to see him kind of develop through these OTAs, and it's exciting to see where he excels during the course of practice. But once training camp gets going, I think we'll really see where he's at.
So that was Robert Saleh yesterday, Joe, on Cam Ward. And here's where I want to start. Again, this is not really me taking a shot at Robert Saleh because this is something that has been beaten into me the last couple of years here that has just progressively driven me more crazy and crazy. This happened with Will Levis all the time too when it came to Brian Callahan. I mean, you'd be asking him about, things about Will Levis and the game and all these things. And it always comes back to things that have nothing to do with throwing the ball. It's like, well, the mindset's great, or, he's really tough out there, or, the ability to move on from the play to play. He can play the next play with the best of them. That's great. And I'm not saying all that at the quarterback position is unimportant. We've talked about, those things, and you've got to have a certain disposition about you as a quarterback. But Joe, my goodness, it would be nice at some point if somebody asked about a Titans quarterback to the coach about things that they were really excited about. And one of the responses was, you know what? I'm really excited about his ability to deliver the ball exactly where it needs to be, and his ability to look at the opposing defense and know exactly what's coming and have the answers to the test. Things that can tangibly help you on the field. I would love, if I'm a Titans fan, to get to the point with a quarterback here pretty soon where it becomes pretty clear that the strengths on the field are what matter and not the strengths of what the mentality is and all these other things. Like, it drives me insane. And I get it. It's not a Robert Saleh specific thing. I get it. It's a June practice and OTAs, and he didn't want to go down the rabbit hole of getting into throwing himself out there with some traits that he loves about Cam Ward. But I heard that yesterday, Joe, and I started texting somebody as I was like, good. The mentality from Cam Ward is great. Well, that's awesome. I'm not saying that's unimportant, but good God, I want some physical skills from a quarterback that the coach loves. Driven me nuts yesterday, Joe.
Yeah. Well, people are watching him throw, and obviously he's still off the mark a lot, right? Or maybe not a lot, but he's off the mark enough that people are coming away from these practices saying, that was, Cam Ward struggle. Why did Cam Ward struggle? Why did he miss this pass? We're breaking down. So I guess if Robert Saleh came out and said, well, what I like about him, guys, is that he delivers the ball every time out to the right spot. Everybody's like, well, no, he doesn't, because we've been watching him out there. So
well, I'm not even saying he should have said it. I would like for it to be true at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. I also say that even if it is true, that the stuff he talked about there is still stuff that the coaches will talk about more, right? You know what I mean? Like it's obviously the guy delivers the ball, but it's the mentality, it's the mindset, it's the toughness. These are things that coaches talk about, even with quarterbacks who do that at a higher level than Cam Ward is doing right now. But yes, it would be good if we could all get past, because I agree. Yes, it's important. It matters. Of course it matters. Cam, it is important to move to the next play. And I love his mindset, but yeah, it just has limitations. I mean, like that gets you so far, that helps you so much. And it
just reminded me so much of like the Will Levis stuff. You'd ask Callahan about Levis, and it was like, well, that guy is just tough as nails. And well, that's great. I'm glad that the quarterback's tough, but I don't really care how tough he is when he's being drugged down from behind and throwing the ball over the top of his head to the other team. I don't care how tough you are at that point.
Well, and the thing is, yes, you could say he was tough, but I hope no one ever said, boy, he just lets that last play go and moves on to the next play. Because as we know, Will Levis, I mean, that's, I think, a huge part of the problem for him, right? Is that he was wound too tight and couldn't get rid of the bad plays, and then they compounded themselves. I don't think that's a problem for Cam Ward. But again, okay, great. That is an upgrade from Will Levis in that way. Yeah, like to see him get hit by some pass rushers. But yeah, again, it's just limitations on what that means for you. So I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting thing too, though. It's like, so it sounded like that was Easton asking that question, right? It's also one of those things. I mean, obviously, I guess because he's new for Saleh, I guess that's fine. But it's like, it is year 2, right? We're asking questions about, what is he good at? What describe his game for us. I mean, we've seen him play a whole season. He has to get better at things. But again, I guess because Saleh has fresh eyes on him, I guess it's worth seeing what he says about something like that. But that coaches default to that stuff too, man. They do.
That. I mean, look, there are only 2 coaches and 2 organizations in the league that I keep up with on a day-to-day basis, right? Like I couldn't tell you, what Sean McVay is saying about Matthew Stafford every day. I've got a general idea, but I couldn't tell you what he's saying every day. Like the Packers and the Titans are the 2 teams that every single press conference, every time the coach talks, I know what's going on. And I understand it's a completely different situation in Green Bay than it is here, right? Like Jordan Love at this point is an established guy. But it wasn't that long ago, like they started asking LaFleur, who, as you know, one of my least favorite people, about Jordan Love. And the first thing he started talking about, he's like, yeah, I mean, he is just absolutely a machine out there right now, putting the ball exactly where I need to put it. Like every time the ball is right where it needs to be. He's got a complete mastery of the offense, and we feel great about where he is right now. And again, I understand it's quarterbacks in 2 completely different situations, but I was thinking about that yesterday when I heard the Saleh answer, and I was like, boy, it sure is great to have a quarterback where you're like, yep, that ball is exactly where you need it to be, and he knows exactly where to go with it every time.
Sounds like a compliment from Matt LaFleur. I mean, I don't know. Call me crazy, but it sounded like,
well, it's about as close as you'll get me to do it is June with LaFleur.
June, one comment. That's the pro. That's your whole list of pros for Matt
June.
LaFleur. Yeah.
He's great in June. Yes.
Yeah. Look, it gets old. It does. It gets old. And it also just, and this time, I mean, they've, to the Titans' credit, they've let everybody watch more practice, which is great.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it seems that there's some alarming stuff in all of them, although I don't, again, I don't know if alarming is quite, I don't know if it quite rises to that level, but it has sort of intensified the whole deal here about Cam Ward and accuracy and really like the thing that if you're a good to great quarterback in this league, like that's just an absolute prerequisite to be that.
Well, and apparently it didn't go well again yesterday. And apparently that was a problem again yesterday for Cam Ward. Some people out at practice making some observations on the Cam Ward front. We'll get into some of that coming up next. Take more of your thoughts at 615-737-1025, including, a part of this that we've talked about that I am growing more and more concerned about that we'll get into coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Our football offseason coverage brought to you by Tennessee Brew Works, the official craft beer of offseason coverage here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Joe, apparently not a good day again for Cam Ward out at practice yesterday for the Tennessee Titans. I mean, I was doing some reading yesterday, and I did find it interesting. Even at TennesseeTitans.com, our friend Jim Wyatt had this to say. Said, quote, "It wasn't a great day for quarterback Cam Ward, who hasn't looked very sharp in these recent OTAs." Talking about missing some throws. I think he was 13 of 25, according to Jim Wyatt yesterday on the day. And in the 5 open OTAs, 62 of 113 on the 7-on-7 and team drills combined, which is not good, Joe. I mean, that's not what you're looking for in practice there. Here's what I'll say. We've talked ad nauseum this week about, the OTAs, the accuracy struggles, all that. And I stand by what I've said for the most part of it's June. I don't particularly care. The accuracy concerns with him are not new. I will say this, though. You would like to see at some point, even though there's a limitation as to what all this means, like it'd be nice for him to have like one good day out there, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
mix in. Cam was hot today.
Yeah,
Yes.
like that's what
Yes.
I guess when you stack as many of them up that are subpar as it appears that he's done, that's when my concern starts to maybe grow a little bit beyond it's June practices. Who really cares? Like, if you have a couple of bad practices in June, I just think there's a huge limitation as to what that actually means moving forward. And maybe there still is. But the fact that it appears like, Joe, it's basically been like every time that they've been out there with the open practice and it's just not gone very well for Cam Ward, that part of it becomes a little bit more concerning to me than maybe it otherwise normally would be.
Yeah, for sure. Go back. You can find people yesterday were giving us the examples, Drake May, Caleb Williams, and all that stuff. And certainly they struggled at least on days. I don't know that it was every day. You could find practice accounts, whether it's in the spring or whether it's training camp. You can find practice accounts of every quarterback probably in history for whoever follows it closely enough to really monitor and take the stats on the practice stuff that had bad days and maybe even bad stretches. But how many good quarterbacks don't mix in good days, of practice? I mean, it's probably not many. Again, this is spring. This is new offense. You have to keep that in mind. Some people will look at that as, wanting to make excuses for him, but you just have to have the proper context. It is new. This is something we talked about last year. Well, not great if you come in and you're drinking from a fire hose, you're learning a new offense, and then, hey, by the way, here's an all new, totally different offense and OC and terminology and all that stuff for you to get into in year 2, while you're also, by the way, trying to recover with your shoulder and all that stuff. So there's plenty of excuses built in here. But yeah, you'd like to see just a day where he gets on a heater. And again, it's him on a heater. It's also the communication. It's the having the answers, like you said, but then just delivering the football. There's still more time this spring for that to happen. If we get through the end of the spring and it never happens and it's just a consistent thing that he struggles, is that, how much does that move the needle in terms of, okay, there's a real concern? I mean, it's hard for me to get there too much in the spring, but I mean, look at the conversation now. If we're talking about the overall conversation around town about Cam Ward, it's going to get louder.
It's going to get louder. The thing that, again, without being there and having limitations is what this all means. Like the 7-on-7 struggles to me are weird. Like, I think yesterday, according to Wyatt, he was 4 of 8 in the 7-on-7. And Koharski said it earlier this week. It's like, it's kind of I don't know if red flag is the right phrase, but your eyebrows go up a little bit in a 7-on-7 period when the ball touches the ground, Joe. Like, it's just like it's naturally designed for the offense and the quarterback to be able to move the ball. So look, I mean, he could be throwing all these 7-on-7 periods 45 yards down the field, and you just automatically, lower your chances at that point. But the 7-on-7 struggles would be the one to me where it's like that just doesn't really add up as to what that's supposed to look like in the NFL.
Yeah. 7-on-7 should be. There's no, and I understand that quarterbacks can't get hit anyway. They have the red jersey and whatever, but there's still a difference. There's still a human instinct of here's a big body coming near me. Also, they're going to whistle it dead if it gets close enough. It's going to be a sack. So you don't have that at all. You just sit there and throw. So yeah, I agree. I mean, that's not ideal. We got Ryan in Florida saying, you got the Allen Iverson talking about practicing, and sure, we are. Unfortunately, this is all we've got right now, man. We got practice.
Well, and again, if he was lighting it up out there at practice, people would be talking about it the other way of, oh my goodness, look how good Cam Ward looks. So you can't live in both worlds. Either it matters or it doesn't.
Yeah, the default is going to be more in an NFL town, more impulse overall to react if it's good and not react if it's bad, right? Like we were talking about it the other day. I think that's what I was trying to say the other day. But yeah, you're getting, again, I mean, Jimmy Wyatt wrote it just plain as day there. Like he has struggled. A lot of people telling us about, bringing up Stilley, calling him a bust. Is that new? I don't think that's new. It's just maybe just saying it more now. I mean, again, of course it's silly and goofy and too early to be convinced about anything right now. Just like it would be ridiculous to say he's a star. You know? I mean, it's come on.
Again, like
it's just not. It's not the spring you're hoping for so far.
Well, I think if you're a Titans fan, what you're hoping for is somebody asked earlier on the text line, is he still hurt? See, I don't buy that. Like, I understand you had the shoulder stuff, but to me, if there was any sort of lingering concern on that front, then the Titans would be insane to put him out there at this point. Like, to me,
unless he's lying.
Well, yeah,
that would be really,
and that'd be
ridiculous.
A different problem at that point. But like to me, it tells me that if he's out there on the field in OTAs, which by the way I think is a very good thing from an injury standpoint, that it's progressed to that point where it didn't look like it was even a concern for the Titans heading into it. But my guess is if they had any doubt on that front, he would not be out there in OTAs. So I don't really buy the injury stuff.
That can't be anything. There again, unless he's reckless. And so then we're going to get into, if that's the case, then we're getting into toughness that hurts you, and it's just you're doomed. I mean, if you can't if you can't understand that, like, if your performance is affected at all by pain, tracing to that injury right now, there's if anybody on the Titans knew that, there's zero chance he'd be throwing a pass. He wouldn't be out there.
Right.
He wouldn't be out there doing the shuffle drills without throwing a pass if there was any pain or there's any concern. So, yeah, I think we have to take that as a complete non-issue.
I think so. And the other thing is, and I don't know how much validity there is to this. Like, how much as Brian Dable looked at it and said, you know what, well, there are some things mechanically that we got to fix, and they're working through that process right now. Like, I mean, if you're asking me on the surface, Joe, if that's the case, I'd rather him work through some of that stuff in June and be ready to go, or more ready to go by the time August rolls around. I don't know, but at the same time, I understand that there's a chance they could be changing some things with him mechanically. I'm not going to shut the door to that possibility. I don't think it should throw you off that much to the point where, I mean, you're just missing balls everywhere in OTAs, right?
Yeah, look, this is where the injury, again, we can find another excuse if he doesn't play well, which is take the injury away, and there's more time to work on all these things, and of course you're gonna be working on footwork and the lower body stuff every day, every practice. But yeah, then you get out there and you're gonna throw how you throw when you do these drills, and this is what you're going to be this season. I mean, you're going to keep working on it and trying to hone it and all that stuff, but there's not going to be some massive change between now and the season. This is what you are. So then I get back to the question: how much of this is not having the answers yet, which is understandable to a point, and other guys, the guys you're throwing to, not having the answers, not being on the same page. How much of it is everything's there, you see it, it's there, the timing's right, and just a bit outside. We don't know.
Some other non-Cam Ward storylines to get to on the Titans front that we will do coming up next. Take your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Joe, some non-Cam Ward storylines for the Tennessee Titans. Let's start here, okay? Apparently, Hendon Hooker already being disrespected out there. You know, Mitch Trubisky has found his way back into practice, and he's been out there. So, obviously, when you're talking about 4 quarterbacks, there's not a ton of reps to go around. And Jim Wyatt from TennesseeTitans.com has put it out there. You know, Trubisky's back in there. Levis continuing to get some team reps and 7-on-7. And this is the way Wyatt described it. Quarterback Hendon Hooker, meanwhile, has seen his opportunities decrease. So, Joe, we're not even into the preseason yet. We're already disrespecting your boy Hendon Hooker out there. It doesn't look like he's getting to throw the ball a whole lot.
Saving the secret weapon for when it really matters. Don't worry.
Get that
Will
jet
Levis will get
sweep
traded
in
at
there.
some point. Yeah, a little QB draw.
I mean, the jet sweep with Hendon Hooker can't be as bad as the Brian Callahan jet sweep that Jim DK 45 times last year in a 5-game stretch that gained a maximum of, 4 yards.
Which is weird because he can run well. Will Levis will be moved at some point, I think. Possibly.
We've been saying that
that's
for a
the
long
case,
time,
Yeah, I mean, clearly, I don't know. I guess clearly we never thought there was going to be any big market anyway. It's just a move to move on. Look, I bet you're going to see a growing sentiment in all seriousness. And yes, I mean, obviously Hendon Hooker is holding on by a thread of being in this league, staying in this league.
Yes.
I think we may see a growing sentiment of, okay, so are we sure that Will Levis shouldn't get like a look here or there? I mean, of course, at this point, the organization is 100% all in. It has to be 100% all in on Cam Ward. Obviously, I'm not suggesting that. I'm saying I expect to hear a little bit more of that.
Yes. Lante Taylor back out there. And Saleh did say that Cordell Flott is around and is rehabbing an injury that he had a couple of weeks ago. So we talked with Kuharski earlier this week about, hey, if you're some of these veteran guys that aren't there or haven't been out there, why not? And if there's something injury related, maybe put it out there. And apparently Flott has been dealing with an injury the last couple of weeks. So good to know that's why he has not been out there, Joe.
Good to see Kuharski apologize for bad reporting on his part. Maybe he can take a little bit more time for self-reflection as opposed to trolling me and acting like he's a huge Knicks fan. And I'm just not responding.
Yeah, you won't say it, Joe.
Yeah, well, he can. You know what? That mother farter can say something too.
God,
okay?
you make me so nervous. I mean, just soul leaves my body every time.
There's just a little bit of you dies
Just
every
every
time I
time.
say it. Yeah. But I guess that's not good, but at least there's an answer for someone. It's good that someone like in his position would not be voluntarily missing stuff. But then, of course, you can also take this to the Cam Ward discussion, and we've already talked about it, but gee, you're struggling out here and you're not even going against like the best guys you could possibly be going against in practice.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that you could certainly add that layer to it on that front. And I hesitate to bring this up, Joe, but not really, because it's going to be brought up throughout training camp, I think, at this point. But apparently, the best receiver on the field out there yesterday, Restrepo getting it done out there. So take that for what you will in June practices. Apparently, Restrepo is playing well.
Does he have a chance to be the new Mason Kinsey? Could there be a passing of the torch to where now Restrepo is like the guy who every year he looks awesome in practice. He's on the practice squad. No, of course he's not going to play, but people talk about him. I didn't think so. I would after last year. I'm like, yeah, it's going to be a short stay for Xavier, but maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong.
How long has Mason Kinsey been here? Like, how long has he been floating around on the Titans practice squad? Let me Google search this real quick. According to AI,
didn't he come in with Vince Young?
Yeah, he's been around since the McNair. According to AI, Mason Kinsey first made the Titans practice squad in September of 2020. That's a long time, man.
Oh yeah. I actually, if you would have told me even 2019 or 18, I would have believed you. But yeah, no, he's a legend. I mean, there should be a Titans practice squad Ring of Honor, and he'd be the headliner. So it's in all seriousness with Restrepo, I'm a little surprised. I'm a little surprised that he would even get enough opportunities, but after last year, to even be a guy who shows out in practice in June. So maybe I'm a little bit down on Xavier Restrepo.
Well, I mean, people are going to naturally take that to can he make the team? I mean, there's already 5 spots that are spoken for when it comes to wide receivers, right? I mean, they've got 5 guys that are going to make the team when it comes to Tate, Robinson, Ridley, DK, and Io Manor. So there's 5 spots immediately that are taken care of. Bryce Oliver has been a very good special teams player, so there's probably 6. Like, I don't know if a competition heading into camp, this may be the first time we can say this in forever. I don't know that there's a competition heading into camp on the wide receiver front that actually exists.
Yeah. So no, the answer is no. It's a question of can he make the, can he end up on the practice squad? Like, is he valued enough to be part of the practice squad? Are there other people who bump him out of that? Which I still think is very much on the table for him.
I think so too. But hey,
not to be a
look,
hater.
He's not going out without a fight, He got brought up last year more than any practice squad player I think I've ever seen. And he's not going to let it go this year either, I don't think. I think you're going to continue to see him get brought up.
Yeah, that's surprising. I mean, I guess sure, but you always like to see a new camp hero emerge.
Sure.
At receiver. Because like receiver, there's just always guys, there's always guys, UDFAs who can play. There's always guys out there. We understand the Restrepo Ward relationship and all that, which is fine. But it would be nice to maybe see somebody else do something different. Meanwhile, apparently Mitch Trubisky's just sharp as a tack out there, huh?
Well, it's good it's not a bad thing to have a good backup quarterback. Case in point, Brandon Allen last year. It was not fun to watch Brandon Allen play football in that last Jacksonville game, let me tell you.
Yeah, so Trubisky's certainly an upgrade. But this is so I'm reading Wyatt, 17 of 22 on the day, 45 of 55 in 3 OT sessions. By my quick math, that's roughly 80%.
That's what it should look like in practice.
Right. We also know what Trubisky looks like in games.
Yeah, we do.
So, right. So you don't want to, again, you just don't want to overreact to this stuff, but you just want to see, to your point earlier, you just want to see a drive where, like, whoa, Cam Ward, all of a sudden he went 4 for 4 and it was boom, boom, boom. And you don't want it to be confined to here and there. He extends a play and, just like Saleh's talking about at the presser about, that's when he just plays football. Well, but the thing is, in the NFL, you are within a structure and there's just so many plays where you've got to take something quick and you got to get the ball on time and on target, or you're going to be punting.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up Vince Young earlier. He's pretty darn good outside of structure in the NFL. You put him in structure, didn't go so well for the Titans. Yeah, I mean, shoulder pads in the stands aside,
That was way outside of structure.
That was. It sure was. 615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. A philosophical question from our number one philosopher on the show, Joe Rexrode, that I'm excited to get Tennessee and Vanderbilt fans' thoughts on coming up next. We'll do that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Friday morning, presented by Green Ventures Landscaping. Property managers, if you manage it, they maintain it. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Turron Davenport from ESPN will be with us at 8 o'clock. We will get his thoughts on all things Tennessee Titans to this point in OTAs. Taking your thoughts in the meantime, 615-737-1025. Our program's leading philosopher, Joe Rexrode, has a question that I'm excited to hear for Tennessee fans and for Vanderbilt fans. And, Joe, it relates to what we've talked a lot about this week, and that is the Brendan Sorsby situation going on down in Texas Tech. So, Joe, set this thing up as our noted philosopher on the program. What question do you have for the good people here in the Middle Tennessee area that would call themselves Vanderbilt fans, Tennessee fans, or really any college football fan?
Yeah, it's obviously we have more, I think. I mean, do we have more Bama fans? I mean, I know we have got some Auburn fans too. We got a lot of Auburn fans around. Yeah, pick your school, whatever school you love. It's very simple. And I know some people are going to quickly go to, oh, no, never. But I want you to think real hard, and I want you to really dig deep and be honest here. If your school was Texas Tech, would you support Brendan Sorsby playing? Because I have seen, Robbie, somewhat shockingly, I have seen some Texas Tech fan pushback to this whole thing. Like, guys, what are we doing? Now, mostly I've seen, you guys are just mad because we're good and all that BS, including coming from the mouth of Cody Campbell, who some would say didn't have a lot of credibility previously. I would argue against that. I would argue that I think he has said and done some things, and I mean, his handprints are all over this bill that's going to fail. But that makes sense, even if it's self-serving to a point. And of course it is. I mean, it's self-serving to not want, but if it's self-serving to not want the Big Ten and SEC to go create a super league, then be self-serving. Okay, that's fine. He's losing all the credibility with this crap, especially some of the stuff he's bringing up. And by the way, I have not watched it. Maybe I'll bring myself to watch it. Did you see that they put out a 22-minute video yesterday?
I saw that they put one out. I did not watch it. I ain't watching all that.
The president, the AD, and it's just all the same stuff. Well, we're supporting Brendan. It's like, okay, no one's saying you shouldn't support him. You can't play him.
That mean he has
and
play.
everybody knows that. And everybody knows you can't play him. So if you're a Tennessee fan, this is your situation. Instead of wondering which of these young guys is going to be the quarterback this year, you got a high-priced $5 million possible first-round NFL quarterback coming in, and then this scandal hits, and it's like, oh, my God, we're so screwed. But then, boom, a judge somehow grants a temporary injunction. You're good? All this stuff, I mean, like, all the negativity toward the school. And also, again, the point of if you have someone who does this and they play, what does it do to your sport? Are you okay with that? Are you saying, I don't care? Team X would do it. I've heard a lot of people say, we know Lane Kiffin would be playing him right now.
Yeah.
Team X would do it. So why can't we do it? We're going to be the nice ones. We're going to be the team, with integrity that cares about something beyond just our own winning. I'm curious to hear what people think.
Here's what I'll kind of go to on my answer for this, because I think I've got a two-part answer to it. One, I would like to think that being the concern for the morality of college football that I have and the future of college football, all these things, I would like to think that I'd take a stand in this situation, Joe. The reality is I probably wouldn't. I mean, just to be honest with you, the reality is I would probably say, yeah, if you're Tennessee, you could probably win a whole lot more games with Sorsby than you could without him. The interesting part of this specifically for Tennessee and Vanderbilt, which I think for Tennessee and Vanderbilt fans would make it easier to say, nah, just go ahead and get this kid out of here. Both Tennessee and Vanderbilt have quarterback recruits that the fan base believes can be just an absolute critical part of the future. I mean, Vanderbilt has the number one
That's
recruit
true.
in the history of the program in Jared Curtis, okay? And, Faison Brandon is not the number one recruit in the history of Tennessee's program, but he's pretty good. Well, like when you stack up just purely recruiting rankings. So I think for Tennessee and Vanderbilt fans specifically, it would be easier, theoretically, to just say, yeah, get that kid out of there, because they have guys that they feel, I mean, there's a chance that both of those guys are going to be starting for Tennessee and Vanderbilt respectively this year anyway, with Brandon and with Curtis. So I think that would make it easier for some Tennessee fans and Vanderbilt fans to go that route. I also think there would be some Vanderbilt fans and Tennessee fans that say, yep, it's great that we have those kids. Those kids are maybe not ready to play high-level college football yet, and think about what Tennessee's offense could be with a quarterback like Sorsby, with those receivers that they have. Or think about, all the players that are coming back to Vanderbilt. I know Vanderbilt lost Pavia and Stowers, but it ain't like they don't have good players on their roster right now. Think about what that team could be with Sorsby at quarterback. So it's a very interesting question there. I do think Tennessee and Vanderbilt specifically are better equipped to dismiss him than others would be. For instance, Texas Tech.
Okay, no, that's a good point. So let me change that, since this is just hypothetical anyway. So I'll change it to just, you have the exact same situation as Texas Tech. So any school, whoever you are, you're an Alabama fan, you're an Auburn fan, you're a Missouri fan, you have basically Sorsby, your team has paid a ton. He is your big hope for this year to quarterback your team. They do have, by the way, Texas Tech has a talented guy coming off an injury.
Yes.
So it's not like they're devoid of any sort of answer here, potential answer here. So that's the scenario. You got a young, mostly unproven but talented guy coming off an injury who would have to be your guy. If you don't get this guy, you're gonna light money on fire. But again, the alternative is this kid is playing, and by the way, if and when Brendan Sorsby gets on the field, man, it's you think about the opposing crowds.
Oh yeah,
just think about all the conversation about it, the attention around it.
The college game day signs are going to be quite something.
Yeah, I mean, but and again, so does that affect someone? Some people are able to not let that affect them, but it's an absolute bleep storm here coming if he plays. And again, at some point, do you not worry about the game? I'm so sick of these people saying, well, this is not worse than beating someone, or no one's saying that the actual act of gambling is a worse thing than assault or murder or whatever. I mean, that's just that's a totally disingenuous hijacking of the argument by the Texas Tech people. The point is that if it's just the sport itself, you can't have it. I mean, it is just one of those things that just can't be a part of a sport. And yes, I say that fully understanding that everybody has embraced the gambling money now that's around sports. That does not change the fundamental, real simple thing here. And I just would hope that fans of teams would be willing to spike a year, especially now, Robbie. It's like, you think about something like this in the old days before all the portal and NIL.
Yeah.
You might be screwed for multiple years with something like this, right?
For sure.
Like this. First of all, this would be like a recruit, and you'd be talking about multiple. I mean, look, you're Texas Tech. You paid a lot of money for the rest of your roster. You're probably gonna, even if this other quarterback works out, you might win 8 games. You're not gonna be in the playoff. So you've essentially wasted a lot of money. But you can come right back next year. And it's a year-to-year sport now. To me, that should make it a little bit easier to bite the bullet with something this serious. I mean, I would hope so.
Is it naive of me to legitimately think, that both Josh Heupel and Clark Lee wouldn't let him play? Is it naive of me to think that? Because as A-Dub on the YouTube chat points out, I mean, Tennessee did dump a 5-star quarterback for less than this. They did. He said, Nico, we'll see you, bud. And I know it's more complicated than that. I mean, he wanted some money that they just weren't prepared to give him and all those things. And so it's not an apples-to-apples comparison. Is it totally naive of me to think that both Heupel and Clark Lee would not let him play?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question. I mean, I would like to think so. I would think if we went around the sport and tried to figure out who in this sport, what head coaches in this sport would say, like, we just can't do this. We can't do this. We need to support him. Of course, they're going to. And that's the Texas Tech people. Like, oh, you're not going to support him in his issue. I mean, just please go. Just fly a kite, man. I mean, it's so bad.
Would Dabo let him play?
Coming out of it.
I don't think you would.
I don't think you would. I think you just named 3 guys that I think would be like, look, we're going to support him. But this is and also if you want to talk about his well-being.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about his well-being, right? Okay. So we talked about all the bleep storm around games, as someone pointed out. Also, absolutely, every bad play he makes, the speculation, whether you like it or not, is, oh boy, that's a out of character interception or incompletion. How would you miss that throw? How did you take that sack? And so the speculation is what? That's just what it is, man. And so if you're worried about his well-being as a coach, as someone in this situation, is that the thing? Is that the thing to do, to have him play? And all that stuff helps you in theory, but does it help his future to come out, have that all around him, struggle, and then really screw his NFL chances? Because that's absolutely a potential scenario here.
Shane Beamer would let him play because he's a snake. Let's head back to our phone line. Welcome in Tim in Nashville to the program. Tim, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, guys. And I'm sort of like what I think Robby said a while ago. I would love to think, and I would say, no, don't let him play. But, when it comes down to it, I may or may not. But the big deal in this whole situation is if we had a government body,
Tim, I think we lost you there for a second. Call us back, and we'll get back to you coming up with the next segment. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. More of your thoughts to get to on this coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Today, the Nashville Sounds taking on the Durham Bulls at First Horizon Park. First pitch at 6:35. You can catch all the action on 94.9 The Fan, presented by Twin Peaks Family Leisure, Maple Street Biscuit Company, and Social Cantina. Throwing it out there, Tennessee fans, Vanderbilt fans, if your team was dealing with the Sorsby situation, would you support Sorsby playing, or would you take the moral stand out there? By the way, I mean, I do remember, Joe, last year when the transfer portal opened, we talked about the idea of maybe Sorsby ending up at Tennessee, and it never really came close to materializing. But good Lord, can you imagine if it did, what we'd be talking about right now?
I mean, no doubt. And it's really interesting because, yeah, like Josh Heupel, I hate to think that, like, when you put someone in this situation with all that's at stake, that they just would have to lawyer up and just spin everything and hope enough people buy it and just take the hits. It's possible that, like, any major program in the country would do that, including the coaches we named.
It's possible.
I do, like, I want to believe Heupel, Clark Lee, Dabo, and the others.
I 100% believe Dabo wouldn't do it. 100%.
So basically, you put Dabo on the pedestal of the coach with the highest level of morality. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know that I put him on the highest level of morality. Like, he just spent all offseason openly naming people that were tampering with his football team. Like, and then if you did this, like, it would just totally undo all that. So I don't know. I'm convinced Dabo wouldn't do it. He wouldn't let him play.
Lane Kiffin would actually, like, somehow set it up so that he could, like, place bets on his phone while in the huddle.
Yeah. I mean,
like, Lane Kiffin would, like, it would not only play him, he would revel in it like a pig in slop.
Yeah, he'd bring up, like, FanDuel every week in his press conference.
he'd put, like, instead of the Nick Saban Coke bottle, he'd have, like, BetMGM, you know, so at his lectern. Oh, my God. But so you've got Dabo is the coach you most, because I feel like Clark Lee wouldn't play him, man.
I don't think he would either.
But it'd be interesting to come up with a list of, like, definitely would. I mean, there's no definitely wouldn't. There's no definitely wouldn't, because when you go through the process right now, as things are, of building a roster, of finding that money, you're getting that money from people, and you're saying, hey, this is going to this quarterback, or this is a big deal now. This could be something special for us. We need that extra, $500,000 from you, and then another $500,000. I mean, it's like you are out there raising money at times, like, directly. Sure, some of it is just, I'm going to give my X amount, to the school, but more and more, I mean, it is directly like, we need this kid, we need that kid, right? Now with Texas Tech, I mean, I'm sure there's other donors, but it seems a little different. It's always like Cody Campbell's like, okay, what do we need? And he just busts out the checkbook. But it's a lot to get someone like this and to try to build a competitive roster. And so you're totally in a bind. I mean, I will say this, Robbie, we are all ripping Texas Tech to shreds, and they deserve it. They deserve every bit of it. I do look back and say, why wasn't I screaming? Like, why didn't I write a column immediately when they supported him initially? You know what I mean? That should have been the moment where it's like, guys, you're seriously going to, and I think for me, and maybe it was same for you, and I think for a lot of people, I just didn't think that this would, even a local judge would.
I thought there was no chance.
So it was like, whatever, sure, support him, say whatever. But you can go back to that point and be like, right then, you should have said, listen, we're going to support you. You're obviously not playing. You can't play in this sport when something like this happens. We'll support you, and then it's over. And no one was first guessing at that point. It's not until after the judge makes this unconscionable ruling that we are. But it's really discouraging. And we already knew that, like, everybody wants rules except when it can mess them up from winning, right? Everybody wants rules except for when it might hurt them, might apply to them. But this is just to me, how could you not see where this hurts the game that is your lifeblood, that exists right now, so that everybody can make this money and have these opportunities. I don't understand how these Texas Tech people, I mean, it's like I'm watching, the Branch Davidians or something right now, man. I mean, my God.
One texter says Lane Kiffin will be naming offensive plays after parlays that he had in the game if he could. Probably not far off from the truth. We got Tim back with us here on the program. Tim, good morning. Let's see if we got a better connection this time. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, guys, thanks. Now, what I was saying before I lost y'all, if the NCAA had any kind of meat now, this probably wouldn't be an issue right now anyway. They would have it, to say no, he'd be ineligible and leave it at that.
They already did say that. They did say that. He's banned by the NCAA.
Didn't hold
well,
up, though.
I know, but the NCAA's got no backbone no more. They got no meat. I mean, you can say what you want to with the NCAA. If 30 years ago, it wouldn't even been an issue. The way it is today, the NCAA is a shell of what it used to be.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And the question is, thank you for the call, Tim. The question is there going to come a way for that to ever change ever again? And right now, it doesn't look like the answer is yes. I mean, but the collective bargaining part of that is going to have to be the answer, and we'll see if we ever get there.
Yeah, and again, this pushes us toward that. I just hope it doesn't push us toward that in tandem with him playing. Like, he's still but also I do think that if it gets to that point, then I think we really need to have a serious talk about the playoff committee. I know a lot of people are just dismissing that, and I did too, because they kind of set the precedent with Michigan, which was like, you guys deal with your stuff and you suspend them and all this stuff is happening, investigate, but we're just looking at football teams. And I respected that. I mean, I didn't think that they should have done something then. I think you can make a much stronger case now that they are not, they are their own separate entity. Now, this would also bring lawsuits and all that stuff, and of course, you don't want to bring that on. But I think that you could, as the committee, say he is ineligible per the NCAA, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm not a lawyer, nor do I play one on radio, but I think that they could get away with that. And if they could, I mean that. And if you know that up front, by the way, not like it's some surprise, but like that up front, like they're going to exclude them because of that. I mean, that could take care of the problem right there. And Texas Tech said, well, you know what, Brendan, we're going to keep supporting you, but we have to move on.
2 questions for you. Would Deion play him? And if Nick Saban was still coaching in today's era of college football, would he play him?
Oh, my goodness. Those are very good ones.
Thank you.
Deion, I'll say yes, he'd play him. Saban, he'd play him. He'd play him, man.
No faith in Saban or Deion.
I mean, Saban is very good, and I understand. Like, I'm not like a lot of people who are like totally hating on Saban because he's saying stuff that he didn't, that sort of contradicts the way he went about his business. Because like he's not in the game anymore. But Saban, I think he would spin it. I think he'd play him.
I feel good about Dabo. I do. The more I think about it, one texter talks about like he'd kick him off the team and then start naming all the programs and turn a blind eye to gambling out there. Like, I feel good about Dabo. He wouldn't play him.
My question is, how good is Sorsby?
That's another thing. Like
I don't even.
He was good at Cincinnati. Too. He actually wasn't very good at Cincinnati in the month of November. If you go back and look at it, like I don't know how good he is.
I know that's not real. A legit reason, and it shouldn't be a legit reason. But teams, make excuses and stretch things for guys who are like actually really good.
Yeah.
And I don't know how good Sorsby is. That shouldn't play a huge impact on it if you just want to do the right thing. But all this hubbub, transfer, you're paying all these guys and this quarterback stuff, like we've seen it. How often is it going to pan out? How good is this guy? Is he really worth all this trouble?
No, it's a great question because even just in terms of, so when you ask that question and think about all the stuff that's going to come if he plays, is it going to really blow up in your face? And is it going to end up hurting him to even play this year? That's a good, and to your point, Robbie, there was a game and I forget, it was a home game and he was really bad. And I'm sorry, but now I look back and it's like he was uncharacteristically bad in that game.
Well, he was horrific against Utah. on the road. He was 11 of 33 in that game. It was awful. And then at home against Arizona the next week, he was 15 of 28, threw 2 picks in the game. He's awful in that game. And those are both in November.
Yeah, that's the Arizona game. So again, do I think that he was on the take and he was betting against himself? No, I'm sure he wasn't. But that's the question that automatically gets asked when you let something like this happen.
We will take more of your thoughts on the Brendan Sorsby and the hypothetical question Rexrode's thrown out there, our number one philosopher, 615-737-1025, our phone number, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game, taking your thoughts on Joe's hypothetical question. If Sorsby was quarterbacking your team, would you support him playing, or would you say, hey, we're going to be the ones that take the moral high ground here? He ain't playing for our team. It ain't happening. Let's head back to our phone line. Welcome in Mark in Nashville to the program. Mark, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, good morning, Robby. Good morning, Uncle Joe. How you doing, man?
What's up, Mark? I'm good, buddy. How you doing?
Hey, not a whole lot. Joe, I was trying to tell y'all the other day, for breakfast, man, I had me a nice meatloaf sandwich on wheat toast. So, yeah, I was trying to throw that out to y'all, man. Meatloaf on wheat toast, Robby. Love it and enjoy it, man.
I don't know about that one.
I'd crush that.
Y'all talking about?
I'd crush that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Joe. Robby, you're talking about Sorsby. I got a couple of questions. Don't you take the coach Jerry Maguire? He has a good reputation. Don't you think his reputation is taking a bad hit? Not only the university, but him as a coach, his reputation back in Sorsby the way he is, and not letting up off of it. They're going to ride or die with him. Don't you think that's hurting his reputation?
I mean, I don't think it's helping. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, Joe, I'm going to throw this at you. Mark Emmert, president of the NCAA, is he still there, man, or has they got a new president?
No, it's Charlie. No, Emmert's long gone.
Charlie Baker, right?
It's Charlie Baker, who is much better than Mark Emmert. I will say.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't mean he can actually get anything done, but he's way better than Mark Emmert.
Okay, well, Joe, you remember back for that, Joe, a Big Mac and a fry. That was a NCAA infraction. You can't buy him something to eat. I mean, I don't get where it's going out here now. Sorsby shouldn't be playing. He should have just stayed quiet. They should have went and got him somebody. I'm sure they got some other quarterbacks on the roster, or maybe go out here and try to get somebody else. I mean, man, they're really making things hard for themselves. Now you got teams talking about they're going to boycott. They don't want to play him if they're going to let Sorsby play. Joe, you're right. There's no telling. He might have bet on some games. That BYU game he played in,
Maybe.
He was kind of horrible last year. Yeah, he might have betted on some games and stuff, man. You never know. But I just think it's a bad situation of what they're allowing, man. They're letting money overrule everything and whatnot. And Texas Tech, even with Sorsby this year, Robby, Joe, I didn't even have them as a playoff team. I don't think they'd even make the playoffs this year with Sorsby at quarterback. But hey, Joe, Robby, get ready to head to Illinois, man. So look, I got steak with a fried egg and 2 pieces of nice crispy bacon on it on a hamburger bun.
That's more like
I got 2 of them.
Yeah. Oh, hell yes. Absolutely. Travel the gout travel packet.
That's
My
right.
goodness. That's
like
fantastic.
Oh yeah. Well, Joe, we know you got to watch your gout. So, man, I wasn't going to bring it up, but we know you got to watch that. So,
Thank
hey,
you, Mark.
man, y'all have a big weekend, Rob. We'll see y'all later.
All right.
Hey, Ian, take care, man. We'll see y'all.
All right, Mark. Appreciate you, bro.
All right. See y'all, man.
All right, Joe, here's a lot of people texting them about the college football playoff committee. Here's the problem with that. Here's the problem with them going ahead and making that decision. There's automatic bids. So if Texas Tech goes out there and wins the Big 12 championship, they're in. And there's nothing the college football playoff committee can do about it because that's the way the rules are written. Like, they're in. So, like, if they go out there and they win the Big 12, it's a moot point because they have to be in at that point.
That is a good point. Can we rewrite some bylaws? I mean, it's only June 12th.
It's true. There's time.
Can we revisit? Can we make a Texas? Can we, it's amendments to the Constitution?
Now,
can we not make a
the
Texas Tech
interesting-
amendment to the Constitution?
But in all seriousness, the interesting part of that would be, what if they don't get the automatic bid and they're at large? Could you keep them out if they're at large at that point?
Yeah. So my thing is with that, I'd because I know someone on the text line was like, yeah, just wait until the end and then leave them out. To me, it's like, let's be on the up and up and like communicate this clearly, And again, the indications, the reporting, there's some people who have reached out to some of the committee members, and it sounds like, at least on an individual basis, there's no appetite here to dip the toe into this. It's like, we are here to look at football teams. You guys figure out all your other stuff, but it's just, as you look for possible solutions, it'd be nice to at least entertain this. And if it was, then I would rather it's just like they're just ineligible for the college football playoff per the college football playoff committee, separate because the NCAA has them. And again, now this is where I don't know, does that violate the ruling here that the committee would do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure about that either.
I mean, they're not the NCAA.
Don't think so.
Yeah,
they're not the NCAA. Yeah, so it's one of those. It's a workaround, but it doesn't seem like they want to get into that at all. Which, for the most part, I respect that. I think it's like you people are here strictly for football purposes, and that's what you should be. We have an enforcement. It may be toothless, but we have an enforcement arm. We have an investigative arm. All these things. The problem is that those things are weaker than they've ever been and subject to, even if they actually follow through on something, because the NCAA did the right thing with Sorsby, but even if they follow through on something, it doesn't mean it'll stick. So it's probably a pipe dream. It's probably going to come down to Texas Tech doing the right thing, which they're not going to do. I mean, they've got their freaking president sitting there just mimicking the talking points that no one with half a brain is buying, or just the hope that we get an appeal ruling here quickly that reverses this and everybody can go on about their business. I mean, it's putting the hands of this into another judge. Or putting this into the hands of another judge.
Real quick, Loppy on the YouTube chat says, Robbie, doesn't matter what the rules will say about getting in. There are rules against gambling, so who cares now? Right, but those are NCAA rules, and this is the college football playoff contract. Like, those are different things. So if they win the Big 12, they are getting in. Like, there's nothing the committee can do about it. There's a Big 12 title game, and if they win it, they're getting in there.
Yeah. Again, I go back to what Ian asked, too. It's just like, if you're Texas Tech, man, you think about this. I understand all that you've gone through to get this kid there. Now you've supported him. That's great. You should support him. I believe that he has an addiction and that's a real thing. But think real hard about the worst case scenario here and what that could do to him.
Right.
I know no one will, because again, they've decided to go on a total PR assault and make themselves look more ridiculous daily, but they should think about that.
So back to our phone line. Welcome in Nate to the program. Nate, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
What's up, guys? I don't know if y'all had discussed this earlier in the show, but I don't know why I have not heard discussion on the latest with the Warriors going after the schools that say they won't play Texas Tech if, they actually came to fruition. Because, I mean, yeah, they might be violating the contract, but it states in the NCAA college football guidelines that you cannot bet on your team or anything else. Also, at what point do you think the courts are looking at the NCAA and say, to heck with their guidelines, they don't have any power, and throw that into all the lawsuits?
Well, I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, the guideline, again, like that's what the temporary injunction, when it comes to the guidelines here, Joe, like the temporary injunction has basically just said that there's nothing that the courts can do about it, or there's nothing that the NCAA can do about it. So that's the problem in all this is, yeah, the rules say that it doesn't work, but when you get a judge to go out there and be like, yeah, he's eligible to play, and we'll put the appeal date in February after the season, that's where the problem runs into.
Yeah, and these temporary injunctions, I mean, they've happened in a lot of things. Look, I think the Pavia ruling, he got a temporary injunction. I think that rule, and that changed the rule, that set a precedent, changed the rule. I think that's fine. I think it makes sense for the JUCO to be separate. However you feel about that, that's at least arguable. You could argue both sides of that, right? And some of these, which have been really simple, like you can't deny someone the right to make money, to make money off their skills. I mean, those are like, I think most people could agree, like, duh. Like some of these NCAA rules, this is why they're in such a bad spot. But the fact that it gets to this, I didn't think this one was going to fly, even with a a nice local judge. But the bottom line is, this is not the last time, certainly not the first, and it's not the last time that we're going to see an NCAA rule or a ruling challenged and then defeated by a judge.
Would Signetti play him? I think he would.
Yes.
That was very quick. Yes.
Yes.
Indeed, he would. 615-737-1025. The Rex Rant coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment, let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
I'm basically making out with the microphone.
Christian, pass the ball to Bobby.
If it's at least
Yeah, I mean, someone in the SEC thinks I'm hot.
you're overly addicted to Hendon Hooker because you followed him with the Vols and somehow became a cheerleader rather than a reporter.
You want to make me mad? I'll scream at you.
Win one for the Pekka.
No love for the Norwegians. Norwegian wood. The untouchable Pekka. I will get absolutely wrecked and be belligerent and scream at Scott Stapp if you'd like.
Rexrode.
I need a bit of Monica in my life.
It is time for the Rex Rant, brought to you by Rapid Response Generators, power when it matters most, and served by the Wine Cellar in Hendersonville. Joe, the floor is yours.
Thank you. And we were texting. That was a beautiful mashup. Also we were texting during the break, and I hope people have noticed. Robby has noticed now that I'm sitting here in front of just an absolutely beautiful framed, I think signed. Is that signed?
Oh, it's signed.
Oh, it's signed. Micah Parsons, Dallas Cowboys jersey. Look at that. My brother-in-law, man, that guy loves his Cowboys. Loves them so much. He's still, thinking back to the glory days of Micah Parsons, Dallas Cowboy. So,
Hate to see
Robby,
he's not there anymore.
Yeah, no, it's a real shame. If you start feeling a little bit sad about Matt LaFleur, or you want to kill him or something. I mean, think of the Cowboys fans who wish they still had Micah Parsons. It could be worse.
That's true.
Although Micah Parsons, as he pointed out to me last night, when's he going to play this year? Well, he is hurt right now. Sorry to bring that up.
It'll be fun.
So I'm going to pivot here. There's any number of things I could scream about that I've experienced, because that's just a daily occurrence for me, that I either embarrass myself or someone enrages me. But I think we're going to keep going with this. And here's the quick, because people are reacting to this. But here's the thing: we've had a lot of reaction. Have we had anyone just admit that they'd be like, "Screw it, I want to win"? You people are lying.
Yeah.
Someone tell the truth out there. I got people saying, and I don't doubt that some of you would care about the game. And you can say that. Okay, I can understand some people say that. Nobody wants to admit that they'd be like, dude, look around. Look around. And I get it. You can make the argument. Look around at college football. Look around at college sports. And you want me to be the one to think of the greater good. No one thinks of the greater good. The people in charge of the sport don't think of the greater good. They are looking for short-term financial gain, cash their chips in, get the hell out. No one is. Everybody's out there trying to claw at each other's throats and win. And you want me, if I have this situation, to say, oh no, yeah, that's fine. This is bad for the sport. Hell no. Someone be honest with me.
I mean,
no one has been honest.
I think I said it. I think I said I would like to think I would take the moral high ground, but I probably wouldn't.
Okay, well, that's okay. But that's you. I'm talking to our listeners. I'm yelling at our listeners.
Well, based on what you know of Vol Twitter and the Vanderbilt fan base, that just coming off their best football season of all time, what do you think? Would Vanderbilt fans accept this? Would Tennessee fans accept this? Like, Tennessee fans, I'm just here to tell you. Let me let you know a secret.
They'd be acting like Texas Tech fans.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there would be some that would be like, it's probably not a good idea. But I think if you went percentage-wise, a lot of Tennessee fans be okay with him playing.
Yeah, I think it's probably – yeah, look, I think that the majority of any major fan base with a team that's actually in here competing, investing, and that includes Vanderbilt now. Vanderbilt they're in a different category. I mean, a few years ago, maybe Vanderbilt fans like, wait until baseball season, whatever. Let's be on the up and up. I think the majority of any fan base is going to band together and rationalize as much as they need to rationalize, and have some nice group think on the message boards and social media, and talk themselves into it. People are just haters. They just don't want us to be good. I think there's probably just bigger percentages of certain fan bases might be like, guys, let's look at this here with a little bit of a wider lens here, and tell me, how this is good for anybody. But I think the majority of every fan base would, and I think a strong majority of every fan base would talk themselves into, why do we have to be the ones? If a judge says it's okay, the judge says it's okay. That's college sports.
I'm with you on that front. I do go back to what Ian threw out there earlier of like, how sure are we that this dude's any good? I mean, I understand he's good. Is he that good? That's the question, right? Because, and you go back to last year, like I said, November, I mean, Cincinnati got smoked. They lost every game in November, including a couple of just wretched performances by him in there. And yeah, I'm sorry, but there's a difference between, going to Cincinnati and being an okay story in the Big 12 and going to Texas Tech, who just won the Big 12, and going to the college football playoff and playing in high stakes games and what that looks like. I don't know. Like maybe he thrives in that situation. I don't know, but like, he's certainly not a sure thing. Like, it's not like this is, Johnny Manziel or Cam Newton that we're talking about in college football, where it's like, yeah, this dude unquestionably great college football player.
No, there's a lot of you can make the argument to these Texas Tech people. They won't hear it. You can make the argument to them that you are actually putting this kid in peril, but we'll see. Keith says, no, we Vols fans would not accept this, just like we would not accept Schiano. I mean, are you on glue, Keith? I mean, seriously, come on, man. First of all, are you trying to say, Keith, that the Schiano thing was like was a morality thing and not oh my God, this guy sucks, he's the Rutgers coach? I understand that people brought up like this very vague comment he made during the Sandusky thing that some Vols fans twisted into like, don't support child rape or whatever the signs. I mean, it's like, please do not sit here and try to tell me that Schiano Sunday was like some great win for morality.
615-737.
Am I being too hard on him, Robbie? Am I being too hard on him?
No, that's fine. I think it was good.
Okay.
615-737.
You're the Vols fan with the barometer. Sorry to keep interrupting you. So go ahead.
It's okay. I've taken earlier this week. I took like 4 of your rant ideas right before you did it. So it's a little bit of payback.
That's true.
It's like, wow, I was going to rant about that. And then I was going to rant about that. And then I was going to rant about that. Turron Davenport with us coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
ESPN's Turron Davenport talking Titans now on Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It is that time of the week. We head to our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in our friend Turron Davenport to the program from ESPN, presented by Bart Durham Injury Law. TD, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning. How are you guys?
Awesome, man. Appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning. TD, a lot of conversation this week about Cam Ward, accuracy, and those things, which I'm sure you've been at the center of as well. My question to you is this. At this point, what is your concern level on the accuracy front for Cam Ward, and what is the response that's simply, hey, this is June, who really cares?
That's it right there. You just said it. It's June, who really cares. And you could add a little more context to that. They're learning a new offense, right? And then you could add a little more context to it. The guy, he didn't have shoulder surgery, but, you know, his shoulder, he's coming off a shoulder injury. Now, I'll say all that to say this. He's been inaccurate. Like, you're not going to get around it. He's been inaccurate. He looked bad yesterday, but it's okay. There's no reason to cancel Christmas or do anything like that. It's going to, you got to just let it play out, and it's early. And the other thing is you have to understand some of the additional context in that, when you look at these stats and stuff like that are being kept for an OTA practice, which is wild to me. But there's a degree of throwaways, right? The defense, the secondary has been pretty good, right? You got some young corners that have stepped up. So it's not all inaccuracy. There's some good play from the defense, but it's not acceptable. I'll say that, but he just has to get better.
Yeah, and certainly I think that's all important context, TD. My big concern with him, though, from going back to college, as much as I enjoyed watching him, was I just don't know if he's going to command the. I tie it to shooting threes and throwing strikes. It's not exactly the same thing, but like some people just have that accuracy. They can paint the corners. They can command, their pitches at an incredible level, and that's part of some of these best quarterbacks in the game. And certain other guys like Josh Allen's never going to be that. He has gotten to a good level of accuracy with a lot of other things about his game that make him a great player. But I am concerned about Cam long term and his accuracy. And so for right now, and I know there's no exact answer on this, but how much do you think is everybody's on the same page, and so the ball ends up in a spot that looks like just like a bad throw, but it's really a little bit more of a symptom of system learning than it is he had the throw and he just missed it?
Yeah, honestly, it's all of that. I mean, look, like, to use your throwing strikes, he's not going to be Tom Glavine, but he's also not Ricky Vaughn. You know what I mean? So when you look at it, I think it really comes down to playing in a scheme that should provide him some higher percentage throws, right? You look at the Wan'Dale Robinson situation. Wan'Dale is a guy that runs a lot of those under routes. Now, he'll get vertical for you, but he runs a lot of those under routes, and those give you opportunities to have higher percentage throws once you're on the same page. Right now, they're not on the same page, and you can clearly see a disconnect, right? So, again, it's not just the accuracy, but I think you also have to look at, he has to figure out a way to get better on downfield throws, like get more consistent. I think that's the best way to put it. Because he had a throw to Chim DK. It was, it was in a cover 2, and he kind of ran like a streak route down the sideline, and like he threw it just past the corner that was buzzing back, and before the safety could get over there, it was a precise throw. But then he had one where he just simply overthrew him. And, you can't have those plays as much as he's having them, and that's the big problem. So I'm not sure exactly what it's going to be, but I do know Josh Allen, we always joke when he came out of Wyoming, he was like a jugs machine with the accuracy settings turned off, right? But he's gotten to be a lot better, and he's, a top 3 quarterback in the league now.
TD, you brought up Chim DK. Obviously, it's a more crowded receiver room this year with Tate and Robinson coming in. But if you're Dable looking at him, obviously he can run. We know what he can do as a returner. What do you think the key is to unlocking more from him this year as a receiver, with him heading into year 2 and knowing that the receiving room is just more crowded and better than it was a year ago?
Yeah, that's a good point. It is more crowded and better, but I think the key is you got to let him do what he does, right? We talk about Cam Ward's accuracy. Well, one thing he's accurate with is that's throwing that deep over route. And look, man, you get that 4.3 speed and that center field ability. You know, he gets the center field like Eric Davis. Now he'll track the football. You know what I mean? So you combine those two, you got to take advantage of that, and that stretches the field as well. I think you mix him in some at Z. You motion him like he's a guy like I would send him in motion, right? Like short motion, like have like, all right, let's say it's twins right? You motion him inside of number 1, so he becomes number 2, and you just let him run a slant, and you just hit him, you know, in stride and let him catch it and do like he's returning a punt. I think those are the things that you got to do with him. Get him opportunities with the football because he's very dynamic with it, as shown by leading the league in total yards last year.
Now that Mitch Trubisky's out there, and you speaking of the stats, you know, Jimmy Wise keeping stats on this stuff. And Mitch has looked awfully good. Is that reflective of how he looks to you? What are your impressions of him right now?
Hey, man, he's showing what a comfortable quarterback looks like. He's comfortable in this scheme. He loves the scheme. He told me yesterday how Brian Daboll calls plays for the guys and how they sit down and they talk about it, and he learns what they like and don't like. It's no different from any other OC. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like, you know, he's some wizard or anything, but there's just a degree of relationship making that he's able to have, and it is clearly a connection. You know, he said he could have went to Buffalo, you know what I mean, or like, you know, remained in Buffalo, but he decided to come here, you know, because of Daboll. So I think that shows the connection, and the connection is shown in the comfort and command that he has in the offense.
So, TD, in some ways, it kind of felt like 2 different seasons for Tony Pollard last year. I mean, he and the offense really as a whole struggled at the first part of the year. And then, you know, Brian Callahan gets fired. McCoy steps in. They start running the ball a little bit more, start running the ball a little bit better. And, you know, he finds himself with a career year. So, with that in mind, another year added onto this at an age where you look at him and say, well, it's not getting any younger. I don't know that he's going to be more explosive moving forward. When you factor all that in, what do expectations for you look like for Pollard heading into this year?
Yeah, I mean, I would expect Pollard to be a part of a committee. I think that's really what it boils down to. Like, to your point, he had a career year last year, and he's durable. You know, that's another thing that's really good about him. I think you're going to get to see these guys catch the ball at the backfield. But I know you asked about Pollard, but let me say this, Khalil Mullins, and granted, we're talking, you know, shorts and the jersey and the helmet. But there's a nice little degree of more pop to him. He had a couple cutbacks yesterday and even on Tuesday that impressed me. And, you know, his vision and being able to press it, right, and set the block up and cut it back and make something happen. I think it's going to be pretty tough for Julius Chestnut. You know what I mean? But I think there's going to be 4 running backs on the roster. And, you know, one of them obviously is going to be the
I think we may have lost TD there for a minute. We'll see.
No, I'm here.
He's back. There he is. There you go. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, that's really interesting on Mullings because I really liked his potential coming out of Michigan. He hadn't played a lot, and he's one of those guys you forget about. And then it's like, okay, he's worked to get himself into a give him a shot here, which is really interesting. And the type of runner he is, you know, like you said, I guess I would look at him and I guess you hope Singleton pops like they think and they really get a steal there, and then Mullings will be your 4th back. But the question for you, TD, is, you know, Pollard is obviously going to be the primary guy. Do you think they want this to be like a split workload running back situation in terms of carrying the football, or do you look at like Singleton once he gets healthy and everything more as like a competitor with Spears for 3rd down duties?
No, I think it's going to be working the split, but you will have Singleton and Tajay Spears primarily on third down. So I think it's a combination. It's funny, both of those guys told me that they feel there's a degree of pass catching in their game that could be unlocked. You know what I mean? But again, you look at the third downs, man. Tony Pollard, that guy is not afraid to go up in there and as Jordan Reed said, put his face in the fan to take on that blitzing linebacker. So I still think it's going to be a collection of all three.
TD, the question that we're probably going to ask you 1,000 times between now and December, what have been your early impressions of Carnell Tate in terms of, is he on schedule where you thought he would be? Does he look better than you thought he would look at this point? Like, where do you come down on that?
Hey, Rexrode, I don't know if you've seen it, Robbie, but I know, Rexrode, I know you've seen this movie. Keenan Ivory Wayne's I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah.
You remember at the end when KRS-One was rode up with him and they played Jack of Spades?
Yeah.
And he said, that's my theme music. Every superhero needs to have some. Yeah. Look, Carnell Tate's theme music is Smooth Operator.
Hey.
Or I'm So Smooth by Big Daddy Kane. One of those two songs, because that's what he is. And you got to spell it SMOOVE like that.
Yes.
Misspell it purposely. That's what he is. He's smooth. And the thing that I love is Parker Kelly pointed out, he high points everything, but this is the fourth practice. I haven't seen a ball go his direction, hit the ground. If it's near his hands, he's going to get it. And that's what I really like about him. But at the same time, it's June, right? We said it's June when we were talking about, Cam Ward and his inaccuracy. It's June also with Carnell Tate. We're not going to go ahead and say he's think of your favorite receiver. Not yet, but he's showing really good signs, and I think he's going to be a good one.
Now I'm thinking of Chris Rock trying to buy one rib.
He said, how much for one? One order of ribs. No. One rib.
Extremely well done by you two there. Extremely well. TD, thank you as
Robin,
always.
You got to study up, man. We're going to get you right.
I got a long list, TD, of things I got to do. I finally saw Office Space, and Rexrode was so proud of me there. But I'm about 15 movies behind.
Yeah, look, man. You got to understand, Rexrode's been to plenty of cookouts and barbecues, man. He always has an invitation.
That's what I'm talking about. TD, have a great weekend, man. Appreciate you taking time to be with us, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, appreciate you guys, man. Let's go Mets.
Hey, there we go.
There you go.
Joe, how you feeling about the Tigers?
I mean, they've won 7-9, man.
Hey,
so I'm still. That doesn't mean like I'm still officially. They're still officially dead to me, but I'm kind of side-eyeing the corpse right now.
They're in the process of resurrecting. It's good.
It's like I'm a little bit like, is this going to be a zombie Tiger season? So we'll see.
We will react to what TD had to say. Take more of your thoughts. 615-737-1025. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game, taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at 102.5 The Game for live shows and exclusive content. I appreciate TD for being with us in the last segment, taking your reaction to that. Joe, a lot of conversation about Cam Ward this week. Apparently another inaccurate day for Ward yesterday. Look, we've talked about this. Largely, I reside fully in the it's June, who cares camp. The one thing I will say on the Cam Ward front, and you brought it up, like you would like for at some point in the OTA practices for him to have one day where it's just like, yep, he just went out there and lit it up, right? And especially when you factor in like Cordell Flott hasn't been out there. Like Alontae Taylor's been hit or miss out there. So it's not like he's going up against, elite level corners in the NFL. And TD's right. I mean, some of this there are throwaways, and I'm sure there have been some drops in there. But that's the case with quarterback stats in the regular season too, right? I mean, we talk about throwaways and drops, and that comes into your entire completion percentage in the regular season as well. So I guess the bottom line is I'm not panicking right now because of OTA practices, but you would like to see your number one overall pick at quarterback at some point go out there and have a day where he just kind of dominates out there. And that doesn't seem like that's happened.
A drive where it's like, and I understand, like he's made good passes, but like a drive where it's like he just carved him up on this particular drive. Even that would be, even if that was inside a day where like the numbers aren't great overall or whatever. There's some misses like that alone would be good. It'd be good to have. It all does amount to not too much. It certainly the reaction, if it was going the other way, then there'd be too much projecting of what a great season he's going to have. And it would be excessive. Right. And so there's going to be too much concern, but yeah, like you just want to see some glimpses, maybe more glimpses. Maybe it's not fair to say there's not glimpses, but longer glimpses, just and maybe mini camp. I mean, that is the closest to training camp, closest to actual football that you will get. I think it's kind of important for him. Again, just maybe not for him. Maybe it's important for fans. It's important for Titans fans, and just the conversation to cool down a little bit of just like, okay, again, it's early. There's ups and downs. You expect ups and downs, but have some ups with the downs.
Yeah, like I think that's what you're hoping for at that point. The running back conversation is interesting too, because I still think in a perfect world, Joe, it would be great for the Titans if at some point this year, whether it was Singleton or Mullings, I guess Spears, even though I don't have a whole lot of confidence in that one at all, rose enough up to the occasion where it was like, yeah, I mean, you got to make sure that this guy's getting the ball regularly beyond just throwing it to him on third down, like turn around, handing the ball off, whether it's Singleton or Mullings. Not that, Tony Pollard can't do it, but it'd be a great development for the Titans if you found a young back that you felt good about turning around, handing the ball off to in between the tackles.
Yeah, and this is, like we've talked a little bit about linebacker, there might actually be a starting quality or close to it linebacker who isn't starting, who sits a fair amount. That's good. That's called depth. Everybody gets hurt. Every position gets hurt. Mullings actually becoming so, and I really did kind of forget about him, but if you watch him at Michigan his last year, he's very raw. It switched from linebacker, and it was one of those things where it's like, if he had another year at Michigan, he'd probably be a different level of prospect, I thought.
Yeah.
But then, of course, you don't hear much, get some injuries, whatever. That's a great thing if you got someone like that who can push, because Julius Chestnut is another guy. Everybody's got to love him, just like Mason Kinsey. He's a camp hero. He's a preseason game hero, but it's a good thing to have a little bit higher quality of player at that spot. And maybe Mullings certainly to me seems like he could at least challenge to get on the field for some short yardage stuff. I mean, he is a big, strong guy.
Didn't ask TD about Restrepo. Probably an oversight on our part. but apparently he's playing well.
Well, we'll have a full hour on him Monday, I'm sure. Shout out to TD for the "I'm Gonna Get You Sucker" reference. Great movie. I think that actually came out from the Wayans brothers before in Living Colors, right around the same time.
Okay.
Also, though, like Dennis points out, the Eric Davis reference.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my all-time favorite players, period, man. Eric Davis, man. What a joy to watch. And I was never a Reds fan or anything, but like he was just, God, he was awesome. Great references today by TD.
Looking forward to Kuharski's full hour on Restrepo next week. He'll be thrilled to discuss it. And he'll probably be glowing from his Knicks championship by that point, but he'll be thrilled to discuss it.
That's not his Knicks championship.
That's not what he's going to say.
He is going. He is not allowed to celebrate if they win. I mean, I know he'll talk trash to me. That's fine, but he is a fake fan. But yeah, we need to make sure that we bring up Restrepo. We can't forget to stay on.
You're going.
God, what a loser.
Oh man.
Sorry to cut you off there. You were talking about Restrepo, but
no, it's. I mean, that's
probably
just,
a good point to cut us off. Yeah. Probably just good to go ahead and cut us off right there. That's good. I'm pleasantly surprised.
I really didn't think
from Titans fans that we've not heard more about him this offseason. Pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people realized last year, like, okay, yeah, actually, he's not very fast, and he's a guy who's hoping to stick in the league, and he's friends with Cam Ward, and they had some really good chemistry in their 1 year together in college football, and there's a whole bunch of good college football players who, if they make practice squads for 2-3 years, make a little money, that's a pretty good outcome.
Speaking of June overreactions,
here we are.
How excited are we allowing ourselves to get about Carnell Tate right now? Who just it seems like things went well for Carnell Tate during OTAs.
Well, yeah, I think that it's exactly what you want to see, and so I don't necessarily project anything different for him in the fall because of this, but it's exactly what you want to see. You need to see that number 4 pick look like a number 4 pick, so that's great. And obviously, his chances of following up on that are definitely tied a lot to the guy that we keep talking about with concern, But if those two take everything else out of it, Cam Ward and Carnell Tate can get timing together and be on the same page and have a special chemistry on the field, that alone should elevate Cam Ward, right?
You would think.
Yeah. I mean,
unless he's Nuke Lelouch out there and just can't hit anybody in stride.
Just hits the mascot in the head, and Carnell's like wide open, like, hey, I'm over here. But yeah, like that's the thing. It looks like they've gotten him a real significant piece of help there. And the thing TD brought up too, and we've talked about a lot, but it's got to show itself, which is this offense, because I think that they definitely last year didn't give him easy answers enough, especially before the McCoy switch, before the Callahan firing. That's something that you think that Dable's going to have in place for him, and maybe that's just the case. And right now, Cam Ward's just not quite there to take advantage, or he's just missing throws. But that should be, those efficiency numbers should go up because of Dable.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Now, Joe, technically, I mean, the likelihood is that this is the season finale of Weekend Winners coming up next. I do think if there is a Game 7 in the NBA Finals, I believe it is scheduled for next Friday. So there's a chance that we could experience that together next Friday. But I'm pretty sure this is going to be the final of Weekend Winners coming up next. We'll get into that. Standings update, the competition, all that and more coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
It's time to pick some winners. We hope. Robby and Rexrode have weekend winners for you. Now
On ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It is time for potentially, probably, the final weekend winners of the season. A standings update in the competition. I went 5-1 last week with my lock, so that was good stuff. Good stuff on that front. Ian and Joe both 3-3. Joe got his lock. Ian did not get his lock, which brings the overall standings. Ian so far 48-48, 12-4 on his locks, 60 points. I am 46-50, 9-7 on my locks, 55 points. Rexrode 44-52, 9-7 on his locks, 53 points. So technically, Joe, everyone is alive. You could go 6-0, get your lock. Ian could go 0-6, and you would tie him in points, and at that point would have a better record so you could pass him. So, I mean, last week of the competition, everybody technically alive when you think about it, Joe. Your thoughts?
Yeah, sure. Whatever, man.
Good
But
to
I
know.
just buy you guys a bunch of pizza. Okay.
Good to know. We begin with the World Cup. USA taking on Paraguay. You can win, lose, or draw if you're in the United States. Ian, you're in first, so you go first. You're the soccer expert. Will U.S.
Not an expert.
win, lose, or draw tonight?
Let's start off with a bang, shall we? Win. I'm not going to lock it because it could be a draw, but I'm going to go win versus Paraguay. We're starting off on a hot streak here.
Right.
We're getting off on the right foot, so to speak.
Nah, I see what you did there. That's good stuff. Give me a draw because I'm going to watch tonight, Joe, and every time I watch a soccer game, it ends in a draw. So that's my reasoning. Draw is what happens tonight. Joe, your thoughts?
Well, I was going to go win, then I was going to go draw. But since I have to be different, I'm going to go loss. I'm fine being unpatriotic.
See how it goes tonight for Team USA on the World Cup front. Game 5 between the New York Knicks and the San Antonio Spurs in the NBA Finals. A dramatic, historic comeback for the Knicks in Game 4. Series looked like it was going to be 2-2. A 29-point deficit erased by the Knicks, and they take a 3-1 lead. A chance to win the NBA championship coming up on the road in Game 5. The Spurs are a 5.5-point favorite in this one. Give me the Knicks. The Knicks win it on the road. They'll cover the 5.5-point spread, and they'll win it outright, get it done in San Antonio. Joe Rexrode, who we got between the Spurs and the Knicks in Game 5?
So Spurs are -5.5.
That is correct.
Yeah, I'd take the Spurs. Spurs have figured some things out. They'll win this one handily and then probably go lose Game 6.
Figured some things out, eh?
They have, huh? Okay.
Well, they have figured some things out matchup wise, and then they figured out how to completely poop themselves too. But you know, they've the most of the last 2 games, they've been the better team on the floor, other than when they completely just left the building. Yeah.
Whatever it takes to not give the Knicks credit from Rexrode. Ian, your thoughts? Spurs -5.5.
Yeah, I would love to see the Knicks just finish this off, not have to worry about it. Actually, I think I agree with Joe, though. I think the Spurs, it's the extra day of rest, I think, helps the Spurs when it comes to the travel right now.
Mental reset.
They look a little tired. Mental reset physically. Wemby in particular looks better after the extra day. I think, unfortunately, I'm going 5.5 seems a bit high. And on those kind of numbers, I usually go with the favorite. So I'm going to take the Spurs, I guess, to win this game.
Ian going with the Spurs, and with that, Rexrode is officially eliminated from the competition. Carolina taking on Vegas in Game 6, straight up. Game 6 back in Vegas for this one. Joe Rexrode, who you got between the Hurricanes and the Golden Knights?
I enjoyed watching Torts with that expression on his face last night as he took the long walk to the excellent press conference. I'd like to see that again. Give it to him right now. Let's go, Canes.
Going with Carolina on the road to wrap it up and win their first Stanley Cup since 2006 when Peter Laviolette won the Cup with the Hurricanes. Ian Safar, Canes and Golden Knights in Game 6.
No, I think I'm also going to take the Canes to wrap it up. Vegas looks tired. The goalie situation's a little out of whack. William Karlsson left the game last night will not probably return in these in the Cup final here. I think Carolina finally gets her done.
Rexrode doubly eliminated in the competition. Give me the Vegas Golden Knights to win Game 6 and force a winner-take-all Game 7 back in Raleigh coming up. So looking forward to that. Golden Knights win in Game 6 to send that thing back to Carolina. We move to the individual portion of the program. Ian Safar, your first individual selection.
Okay, I was kind of going through some World Cup stuff here, trying maybe, but I don't know enough. Like, I don't want to take some of these big upsets and big, 3.5 spread for Germany versus Curacao or whatever. I think I'm going to pass on that. So I'm going to go, I guess, just back to baseball, even though I have not been very good. I'll take Tampa Bay minus LA, minus 1.5 versus the Angels tonight.
Going Rays minus 1.5 against the Angels. Give me Mark Stone over under 1.5 shots on goal. He doesn't shoot a lot, but it's a Game 6 where they have to win. Give me the over and make it my lock. Mark Stone over. Guaranteed. 1.5 shots on goal for the Vegas Golden Knights. I will lock down on that. Joe Rexrode, your first individual selection.
God, that seems like a crazy 1.5 over under. That's a great bet by you.
Thank you.
Yeah, but Tigers at Indians. Guardians tomorrow in Cleveland. Not today, because tomorrow Tarek Skubal is on the mound for the Tigers. And you know what? What the hell? I'm just going to be a total bandwagoner. Give me the Tigers Saturday plus 1.5. I will take the 1.5 and make that my lock.
Guarantee. Declares them dead and then comes right back in the fold when Skubal returns. Tigers plus 1.5 on Saturday against Cleveland. Rexrode locking down on that. Rexrode, your second individual selection.
Well, I don't know if you guys have heard that the White Sox suck, but the White Sox suck. They have this little moment in first place right now. They suck. Dodgers at White Sox. White Sox plus 1.5 today. Give me the Dodgers.
Going Dodgers minus 1.5 against the Chicago White Sox today. Ian, your second individual selection.
Okay, I guess this is about as good as lock as I'm going to get this weekend, considering. Give me the Braves. Guarantee. Against the Mets. Pretty much a lock.
Jeez. Braves minus 1.5 against the Mets. Locking down on that front. Sticking with the theme, Jack Eichel, over under 2.5 shots on goal in Game 6. Over. I'll go over 2.5 shots on goal for Jack Eichel coming up in Game 6. And let me just go ahead and save you some time. My final individual selection, Mitch Marner, over under 2.5 shots on goal in Game 6. Under. He's going to pass so much in this game. He's going to try to make the perfect play. He gets like one shot maybe. Mitch Marner, under 2.5 shots on goal in Game 6. Ian, your final individual selection.
I mean, I guess I'm going back to baseball. Looking through, we got slim pickings here. So give me, I guess I'm just going to pick on the Rockies.
Jeez.
Yep. Give me the Athletics, even though they messed up for me, I think, last week. But give me the Athletics minus 1.5 versus the Rockies tonight.
No respect to Colorado. No
Nope.
respect to the Rockies out there. A's minus 1.5 against the Rockies. Joe, your final individual selection.
Before I make my last pick, if I finish ahead of Robbie, which now is in doubt because I've totally blown it, we still haven't resolved Pigskin Pick'em, which Robbie won. I came in second. Ian came in third. Now, if we go Ian win, I come in second again. Robbie comes in third. Who pays for the pizza?
Well, we have multiple pizzas we have to get, right? I mean, there's
Is this
like
like a
two separate competitions.
Is this the transitive property you're trying to portray here?
Well,
that
no,
does
too
not
much
work?
math in here. It's two separate competitions.
Right, but see, then I would be absolved of buying any of it, even though I never won a competition because I came in second both times. That's kind of unfair. I'm trying, I'm actually looking out for you guys.
I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that question is.
We will figure it out. But in the meantime, if I haven't mentioned it, the White Sox suck. So Saturday, give me the Dodgers at the White Sox. White Sox plus 1.5. Dodgers because the White Sox suck.
Dodgers minus 1.5 against the White Sox coming up on Saturday. Last year Rexrode tried this stuff, and the White Sox foiled it a few times. We'll see if they can do it again against the Dodgers. Joe, after officially being eliminated from contention in this competition today, your thoughts on your weekend winter season?
Well, I'll take second. Like if I never finish last, then there's something to be said for that. Never winning, also something to be said for that. Not good. Something not good to be said for that. But I'd like to not finish last.
We'll see what happens.
Is that a worthwhile goal?
Sure. Absolutely.
It's about all I've got anymore, okay?
That's a worthwhile goal. 615-737-1025, our phone number. Final segment of the day coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final segment of the day, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game, taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Joe, I'm racking my brain. I'm trying to see if there's a better candidate than Dabo Swinney who would not play Brendan Sorsby if he were in the same position as Texas Tech. I mean, I'm looking around. There's some people maybe on the list. I mean, we brought up two of them. Like, would Heupel do it? Would Clark Lee do it? I think there's a chance that they wouldn't. You have no faith in Dion. I mean, zero. No faith in Dion. No faith in Cignetti, although there were some Indiana fans that disagree with us totally and say Cignetti wouldn't do it. I think he would.
Yeah.
I think he'd play him.
Yeah, Jess is trying to say, oh, no, he wouldn't. She's an Indiana fan. I don't. I think the very strong majority of coaches are going to rationalize this. And, just like Texas Tech is doing, they're going to look around and say, "Go look at that scandal. Look at this. Look at this domestic thing. Look at this." I mean, the fact that Cody Campbell brought up Penn State, it's just a clown show over there. But that's what people would rationalize it. They would do a very large percentage. I did not. I think you're right. I'm with you on Dabo. I think Dabo is a guy who really believes in taking a stand. I absolutely give him a ton of credit, even though Pete Golding is like, okay, great, I don't give a crap. What about Lane? But I give Dabo a ton of credit for calling that thing out, man, because most coaches are afraid to do it. In some cases, just because they don't want to call out a colleague, they're afraid of that, but also because, they're like, aren't we tampering too? We're tampering too, right? Yeah. No, Cignetti would play him. Most people would play him, but I think I'm with you on Dabo, and I hope a few others.
I'll give you another one that's in the
okay.
He's in the Lane Kiffin neighborhood of absolutely would play him, no questions asked. Lincoln Riley. I mean, it'd be automatic.
Sure,
he's playing.
Well, especially like someone like that too, who now is sort of. I mean, he's kind of up against it too, right? Like, and that's that's the thing too. It's like, so we talk about our two coaches in this state. I think that's one difference with Heupel and Clark Lee right now is that Clark Lee, it's carte blanche for him at Vanderbilt, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's easier, I think, if you're in that position to be like, and I have a pretty high level of confidence that he'd be like, yeah, this is just wrong and we have to support him, but we don't need to be selfish and try to spin things like we're supporting when really we're just trying to help ourselves. Heupel is up against it a little bit, not to where I'd say he's on a hot seat, but like you can see it coming possibly, right? So that might make it harder for him.
It's a good thing. Good thing Sorsby didn't go to Georgia. He'd be betting on like over-unders for how fast his car would go, like 130 and a half, or
it'd just be all NASCAR betting.
137 and a half. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. Someone brought that up, by the way. Someone brought that up, and amid all these Texas Tech goofballs and their ridiculous, public assault on this ridiculous topic, they brought up the Georgia driving stuff. I don't remember which one of them. Someone asking about Saban. We said it earlier. I think Saban would play him. Yes.
What about Belichick?
I mean, Belichick. How much cheating is?
Would he have to deflate the footballs first?
What's the over/under on the PSI or whatever? Oh God!
Yeah, I think Bill would play him.
Belichick would absolutely play him. By the way, speaking of Belichick, have you seen that Jordan Hudson is she's trying to capture all. You know what? Every citizen can use the Freedom of Information Act. So Good for her. Use open records law. She is putting reporters' names in and different keywords about the Pablo Torre thing to try to figure out what reporters possibly were in contact with university officials that sold her out on the Pablo Torre thing. So I mean, I gotta say, man,
it's putting together a hit list or something. What's going on?
I don't know, but I'm starting to come around to actually being a fan of Jordan Hudson. She's ruthless. I kind of love it.
I can't wait to. What's their over under and win total this year? That'd be good to see. They're going to be any sort of football team this year?
That's a great question. I don't think they're going to be very good, and I don't think there's any reason right now to think they're going to be good later either. This looks like a total fail. Things can change because in college sports you can have one great quarterback addition and go nuts in the portal. Look at what Vandy did in that one off season, right? And obviously no one knew that Pavi was going to be what he's going to be, but they completely changed the trajectory of the program. You can't say Belichick couldn't do that at some point, but right now the trend is, and with the GM setup they did, and they feel like they're operating in the NFL in 2001, I think it's going to go very poorly.
It's 4.5.
And Jordan Hudson is going to 4.5 the over under.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of embarrassing at North Carolina in the ACC.
I'm trying to think of like the most, yes, for sure. The most likely SEC coach that would not play Sorsby. I mean, we know the least likely.
I think it's Clark Lee.
I think you're probably right. Clark Lee, maybe Brent Venables, but I think I'd go Clark Lee.
What about your guy? What about your guy up there in Como, man? You don't think that Eli would stand up for what's right?
No, I don't.
I didn't know that you had this much respect for Dabo. Like we know how much you hate Shane Beamer, but it actually appears that you're
I think that increases
sort of a pro Dabo and anti Shane.
Yeah, I think the disdain I have for Beamer kind of increases my respect for Dabo, right? Like I think when you're talking about the arch rival, like I'm certainly pulling more for Dabo than I am Beamer in that situation.
Y'all go write crap. Y'all go write terrible stuff.
See? Dabo takes a stand.
That's a nice. Well, you know what? Bringing him up is, I'd love to hear Dabo. I think at some point, and the problem is like there's no, but maybe Clemson has like a traveling caravan like all these schools do. I bet you Dabo right now would absolutely throw hellfire.
Oh, he'd be lighting it up,
wouldn't he?
Yeah.
We need some Dabo. The more of them, I mean, get people out here. I want to hear more about Nomad and Cody Campbell's talking about we'll sue your pants off. I don't care. Keep talking about it. Keep talking about not playing them. Keep putting the pressure on them. And make them persona non grata. Like, you know what? How about this, Cody? You were going to be included in the new Super League, but now screw you. You guys are out. Let's start talking about that, until they do what's right. Because they have to, not because they want to.
Marcus Freeman, is he playing? Yes or no? That's another vote we've gotten that he wouldn't.
You know what? That's a good one. That's a good one. You know what? I don't think he would. I'd put him in team, not play him. On a very small team, I'd put him on that team. I think Dabo and Freeman might be those are very good calls.
Yeah, I think Dabo's in his own category, but Freeman, there's a chance. There's a chance.
Dude, someone's sitting here trying to say Sark would not play him. Sark would play him, and he would make sure that he took only basket weaving classes.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah, Sark would play him. There's no doubt.
Good
Joe,
God.
have yourself a fantastic weekend.
Thank you. You too.
That's going to do it
Everybody,
for us today
be
here
safe.
on the program. We got the NBA Finals coming up this weekend, potentially a Stanley Cup championship this weekend as well. We'll be back on Monday to discuss it all. Next Man Up coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.
Go New York. Go New York. Go.